Quick question. If I told you could build your hair business to about $7,500 in 3 months while you're still clocking into your 9 to 5 full time, while you're picking up your kids from school, while you're making dinner most nights, would you actually believe me? Because most women that I speak to don't actually believe me. They think you need to leave your 9 to 5 first. They think you need a pot of savings. They also think you need a viral TikTok. And none of this is true. Because the women that are winning right now are actually doing opposite of what you've been told. When I started my hair business, a family member sat me down. She literally looked me in the eye and she said to me, this business is so saturated and I would not advise you to go into it. It's the worst business ever. People are going to complain. People are not going to pay you. You're going to be getting a lot of chargebacks. 3 months later, while she still had no idea that I have started the business already, I made my first $7,500 while still working 9 to 5 with young children and everything else included. Now, I'm going to walk you through the 7 things that actually got me my first $7,500 in a hair business. And something most YouTubers will not be honest about. So I want you to stick with me until the very end because that part might be the most important thing. In the first 3 months, every single sale I made was made in my DM. Someone will message me asking me for the price of a wig and I would just say $450 depending on what the price of the wig was by then. And what I did was I always kept the conversation going. So it doesn't stop there. I'll go on to ask them, what do you need the hair for? What kind of length are you looking at? When do you need it by? What's the occasion? And by the time we go back and forth, I am already dropping my payment link. I don't even drop my website link. I drop a payments link. And usually she was paying me there and there. Think about the last time you walked into the shop. Yeah, you walked into a shop and you saw an assistant and you're like approaching the assistant to ask for help and you asked her a question and the next thing she did was just point to you where the amount is, just point to the price tag and walked off. In your mind, you're going to be thinking, why is she just pointing there? Why is she not leading me there? Why is she not explaining? You may take that as being rude. You may take that as very poor customer service. But imagine if she had walked up to you, walked you to where the garment is, told you every details that you need. Even if you don't buy that clothes or that outfit there and there, you would always have that in mind. You probably will come back and make a purchase. Even now, I don't do this as much as I would like because I don't have that capacity to actually dive in and have a deep one-to-one conversation via DM. But what I still do is that I would like to respond to you, giving you full details, what you need, break it down for you. And what I would do is I will link you directly to the product that you need and not just my website. So tell me in the comments, when someone slides into your DM asking for your services or your products, what do? Do you just send them a link to your bio or do you dive in and have a proper conversation with them? Be honest, let me know in the comments. My first paying customer was a bride in my past world. In my previous life, I used to do bridal hairstyling. I did that from 2019 to 2022. And then she saw me that I started a hair business in 2023. And she was like, oh, I'm really interested. Let me buy 1 week from you. After obviously seeing all of the posts and the contents that I created. I was very excited. And to be honest, I did make good profit from that sale. And honestly, I was okay with it. I was just excited that someone felt like it was okay to buy a wig from me. But what I made profit on wasn't actually the sale. It was the proof. Because when she got the hair, she was so excited. She sent me videos of her unboxing it. She sent me videos of her wearing the wig. She sent me comments. She sent me reviews. And I didn't even ask for this. Thinking about it, I actually didn't ask her for this. She just sent it willingly. She was very excited. And all of this I kept as proof. I was screenshotting it. I was putting it on my stories. I was putting it on my feed. I was just showing every single person that this person bought the wig from me and she's fully satisfied. And guess what? Within a day or two, I sold my second wig from someone that has never seen me before or met me before. She only found me on TikTok. And here's the one that surprised me the most. I thought that I was going to get a lot more sales from people that knew me, like friends and family, since the bride that knew me bought from me, right? No, that was like the last, in the range of that 3 months, the only person that knew me that I sold to was the bride. Everybody after that was someone that has never seen me before but saw me on social media. So the reason why I'm saying is your warm circle is actually important because it can get you off the ground. And because I was able to have proof and genuine proof from someone that actually bought hair from me that I knew personally, that kind of opened doors to everybody else to buy from me. So your homework, yes. I do have a homework for you. I want you to write a list. So these are a list of names of people that would genuinely support you. This is hard because I wrote a list because I was excited when I saw the bride and I was like, you know what, let me write a list and just start pitching to people. Oh, it was just dead air. And it's okay. I'm okay with that. They supported me after, but during the phase of the first 3 months, I didn't get any support after this. However, I still want you to write a list of names. The bride that supported me is someone that I know. This could also happen to you. So write a list of names of people that would genuinely support you and then pitch this to them. Pitch your hair to them. Tell them to buy your wig to support you, especially if you're working to get proof from them and you want them to actually test what you're selling. And once you get one person, you don't have to like get 2 or 3 people. Just get one person like I did and get a lot from them. I didn't request reviews. I didn't request video. She just did it willingly. But I will say to request it because I feel like that was just a wrong move that I made. Thank God she willingly did it because your warm circle in the initial stage will help you better than strangers that you do not know. And I actually spoke about this in Ohreese Hair Room where I was teaching everyone about how to know your buyer and stuff like that. Just having that warm circle, just understanding your buyer will help you engage with your family members or your friends, because when you know your buyer, you already understand who amongst your circle fits into your buyer where you can actually go and pitch to them. If you're wondering what Ohreese Hair Room is, Ohreese Hair Room is a group of my beautiful, gorgeous women that actually wanted to start a hair business or are already in a hair business and looking to improve their skills as well as their business strategy. So if that's something that really interests you, you can check the link in the description. If it's open, you can join. If not, it means that we're closed for the month. So you can just go on the wait list and get notified once we reopen. Okay, let's talk about number 3. This one is the one that I genuinely love, and I'm so glad that I did this because it really impacted my business in several ways. When it comes to all of my wigs, when I was planning to launch some of my wigs and name my wigs, I didn't name my wigs like 613 hair or wavy hair or like green hair, blue hair. I didn't do all of that. I actually named them after powerful women in the Bible. Whenever I think of that, I'm always thinking, oh, that was so smart. So I named them powerful women in the Bible because I just felt like that's literally who I am. I wanted people that wear my wigs to feel powerful, to feel blessed. I decided to name them Anna, Deborah, Ada. I have quite a lot of names that I walked through the Bible to see. And when I did this, I didn't think about it too much. I just felt, okay, I wanted to do this for me and I was going to do it. And I remember when a customer came to me directly, she came to my DM and then she said, at the time she wasn't a customer, she just came as an inquiry. And she said to me, she said, I don't follow you, but I was watching one of your videos and I went onto your website and I could see what you've named your wigs. And she was like, oh, can I ask why you named your wigs this? And I said to her, I was like, oh, I named them after powerful women in the Bible. And she was like, what? That is so cute in our words. And she said to me, you know what? I really don't need a wig right now, but I'm going to buy a bob wig from you. I think she said she was going to buy Sarah or one of the wigs that I used to sell then. It was like an old stock because you named them powerful men in the Bible. And that name speaks to me. And I was like, oh. Even talking about it is making me a little bit emotional because that day I just sat down. I was like, wow, I actually made a decision that could make someone feel so good to actually buy a wig from me. Now, I want you to take something away from this video. I always preach this a lot, and I've actually said this on YouTube so many times. She didn't need a wig, but she felt moved by the name of that wig. And that is what is called emotional marketing. I didn't know this then. I just did it because I wanted to do it. But if you're able to tap into a buyer's emotions, that is what sells your product. So I'm telling you this so you can copy this exactly the way you want. You can name your wig something that you feel like it's part of you that would also resonate with other people. It's up to you. You can switch it however you want, but just do something that would emotionally grab somebody because it actually works. Going on to number 4. This one is not glamorous at all. And honestly, when I think about it, I think I did it too much. At one point, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to say it because I was exhausted from it. And this is me taking revamp jobs. So what I mean by revamp is I actually took wigs that other people have constructed from somewhere else, and then they will message me and tell me, oh, can you help me restyle this week? Can you help me recolor this week? Even thinking about the recolor, that was the greatest mistake of my life. Can you help me change this week? Can you change the lace? And initially, I hated it. I don't like doing revamp, and I felt like I just don't want to do it. But the reason why I was taking it was because I was trying to train myself to be better at my skill. One of the skill of growing your hair business is being good at what you do. I knew this from onset. So my exact plan was to style as much wig as I can. And I did this styling by making sure I take enough revamps. I took so much. I was revamping wigs, I was restyling wigs. And whilst I was doing that, I was learning new skill, learning new style pattern. Some customers will come and request a style that I have never done before. So I'm kind of practicing every single time I'm styling a wig. Because here's the truth, and I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again in a different way so that it sticks. Once you're really good at what you do, sales stop being something that you chase. It actually chases you. So that was my goal by revamping. I could have just practiced with my own wig, which I did, but there's something about dealing with women, about dealing with other people, is that they will challenge you to do something that you've never done before. And this really improved my skills and increased my sales within that 3 months. Let's jump into number 5. And number 5 is something that you would think you're doing, but you're not actually doing. I was working full time with 3 children and a husband, and we kind of know that with a husband, you literally have 4 children. I was doing all of this and I was caring for the home as well. But what I did was I made sure that I dedicated some hours for my business. I didn't care how tired I was. I didn't care how strained I was. I didn't care even if I was traveling or I was away from the country. I would still use that 1 hour or 2 hours to actually do something for my business. And this works, guys. Sometimes when you think you are actually dedicating time for your business, especially in the beginning stages when you're working and you have kids and all of that, you would lose time and you would genuinely think you're doing it, but you're not. And I noticed this in like first 2 weeks where I would say, oh, I'm gonna style this hair today, and then I'm like, oh, let me just do it tomorrow. But when I noticed that, and I noticed the procrastination of all of it, I started dedicating specific time that I needed to do something for my hair business. So there are some times that I am always tired at work, and I know that I will do a lot more stuff at work. So what I will do is I'll wake up early in the morning. So if I need to wake up at 5 a.m., I will do that, and I'll do up until 7 a.m. and start getting the kids ready for school and myself. So that was my plan. I used to work around the time that suits me and my family. However, I dedicated 2 hours every single day to make sure that I did something for my hair business. It could be me constructing a wig, it could be me styling a wig, or me trying to order from vendors and have a conversation with vendors. I made sure that I dedicated time, and I actually wrote it down, because if you don't write it down, if you don't break this time in your calendar, you're going to end up messing it up. It's like when you're trying to lose weight, right? Because me, I'm always on a yo-yo diet. Today I am losing weight, today I am putting it back on again. And I've noticed that whenever I'm doing good is when I dedicate myself and my time to actually doing the right thing. So whenever I'm doing good, I'm dedicating maybe a Saturday where I make bulk food, pack it up, put it in my fridge, so that during the week I'm able to eat right all through that week. And if I don't do that, I end up eating whatever I can see. And that is exactly what happens when you're starting a hair business. And when you're able to dedicate time, this is where it gets easier to actually create content for your business. So when I have those 2 hours during the week, I always dedicate longer hours during the weekend. But for those 2 hours during the week, I would actually create content while doing what I am doing. So for example, if I am constructing a wig, I am actually putting my tripod down and I am recording the process. And because I also did this, I got a lot of clips that ensured that I was actually posting every single day. And people didn't understand how I was able to do this, because they're like, you're working 9 to 5, you have children. How are you able to post every single day? The reason I'm able to post every single day is because I'm allocating days to my business and I am recording those moments. This is a whole content strategy, and I think I broke it down in one of the videos. I'm going to link that video at the end. I can't remember the title, but I'll link it at the end so that you can follow this strategy. You can implement this into your business and you're going to see a lot of changes when you do this. Number 6. Now, this is very practical, and this one actually leads into number 7. I actually focused on using raw hair when I was styling my wigs, especially in the beginning. The reason reason is because I was styling my wigs multiple ways and I needed to make sure that the quality stands. And before anyone comes for me, I actually have a whole video talking about raw hair and its benefits as well as virgin hair. I'm going to link that at the end of this one, so if you want to watch it, you can actually catch it. There's so many videos I'm linking. If I can't link that one, I'm just going to put it in the description. The reason that raw hair ends its place in the first 3 months was because I could steam it, I could wash it, I could do everything, I could color it, I could do all of these things without losing quality. And remember, I still wanted to sell this hair. This hair wasn't for me, it was actually for sale. So I had to make sure that regardless of whatever I do to the hair, the quality still remains the same. And you're probably asking, why not virgin hair? In my own honest opinion, I do not think virgin hair would do the same thing, because I feel like when you curl virgin hair too much, you color, you take it through like loops of things. Bear in mind, I'm doing this in a space of 1 month. So there are no breaks in between like you do if you buy your hair. This one I am doing back to back. If you're doing that with virgin hair, especially mid-range virgin hair, the quality is not going to stand. So if you're starting out and you could only afford 1 wig, I would just suggest that you go for a very high quality wig, so that with all of these things that you're doing, you can actually still sell the wig without losing quality. Now, if you can't afford, you can actually go for a mid-range one, and just know that if the quality doesn't stand, then you end up not reselling it. Now, let's talk about number 7. And I feel like number 7 is actually one of the most important parts of this video, because when I started my hair business in 2023, I actually started with 1 closure, 3 bundles. And I did that on purpose, even though I could afford to buy more hair. So the next step that I did, I built that 1 wig and I styled it in different ways. The first one was a middle part. The second one was a side part in black, in natural black. I didn't change the color. I styled that middle part, side part. I even went ahead to do a straight version. Then I went ahead to do a curly version. I didn't layer this hair. After that, I went ahead to color this same wig. I colored it. I did the same thing. Once I did all of this, then I went ahead to layer the wig. And while I was doing all of this, I actually recorded every single moment. One thing to just point out, if you need to do this, do not cut the lace, because once you cut the lace, the wig starts to look old. So I didn't cut the lace all through this. I'm actually going to include a picture of the wig here if I can find it, so that you can see. I did all of this. And now this is where number 6 comes in, because if the quality wasn't good, all of this process that I've done to the hair, I would not be able to sell the wig. And now this is the whole part, right? I didn't just style this hair for no reason. I recorded every single process. By the time I was done, I had so many clips that could help me start off my hair business. Okay, now this is the part that I promised that I was going to tell you about, the $7,500 that I made. All of that money I made, the only profits out of that money was about 10 to 15%. That money was pure revenue, because guess what? I was really bad at pricing. When I was making the sales, I was very excited. I felt like, wow, this is good. I am making money. I am excited. My business is growing. But then I realized that when I wanted to reinvest, I didn't see the money. I was like, where's the money? Where's the balance? The only money I had was the money to reinvest back into the business. And what was left was a very tiny profit. And all of this happened because my pricing was really bad. I didn't understand pricing. This is why I always say here on YouTube, Ohreese Hair Room, don't think that just having the technical skills is what you need. You also need to understand business skills when it comes to hair business. It's not just about styling well or layering well. It's also about understanding how to actually grow a hair business. And the reason why I really didn't notice all of this mess was because I had a 9 to 5. I had a pay slip that was covering me. So I didn't even realize that this business wasn't profitable at the time that I was doing it. So if you don't take anything out of this video, it's really important that you understand not just the technical strategy or how to style, how to make a wig look good, also understand how to grow a business from the bottom up. And all of this we actually share in Ohreese Hair Room. We have Q&A calls, talk about content strategy, talk about the business strategy as well as the skill strategy. So if this interests you in any way, you can check the link in the description. If it's open, you can join. If not, it means that we're closed for the month. So you can just go on the waiting list and get notified once we reopen. Okay, that is all for today. If you've never seen me before, hi, my name is Ohreese, and here on this channel, what I talk about is hair business. So if that's something that interests you, click on the subscribe button, leave a comment and share your thoughts around this video. And if there are any videos that you really want me to record that you're not really sure about, leave it in the comments as well. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.